After Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas dinner is my second favorite meal of the year. This year, I'm going to make a prime rib, twice baked potatoes, and cream spinach. I have another video that shows you how to make the twice baked potatoes, but this time I'm going to show you how to make the prime rib. Now let's talk about this for a minute. Prime rib can be very intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. For instance, I'm going to use the closed oven door method, and I'm just going to use a very high temperature for a certain amount of minutes per pound, and then I'm going to let it rest in the oven, never ever ever opening the door for 2 hours. So let's review that. 500 degrees, so the oven's going to be screaming hot. I'm going to do 5 minutes per pound, and I actually remembered to write down, I don't usually do this and I have to go back in the garbage and look for it, but I remembered to write down the weight of this prime rib. It's 6.64 pounds, which I multiplied by 5, and I got 33.2. So that's, I called that 34 minutes, I rounded up a minute. So 500 degrees, 34 minutes in that screaming 500 degree oven, and then I'm gonna turn off the oven, and under no circumstances will I open the door for 2 hours. So let's get started. So I'm going to take my prime rib. Now I took the prime rib out about 3 hours ago. I know that sounds like a long time, but you wanna make sure that the prime rib has come to room temperature. And the reason is because if you have a very cold prime rib, when you try to take it out of the oven in a couple of hours, it is going to be still very cold and very raw. I'm going for medium rare. That's what the 5 minutes per pound is. So I want to make sure it's at room temperature. So I did that a couple of hours ago. I needed to wash my hands because I was touching the meat before I put my hand in the salt. So to that, I'm going to put a generous layer of salt all over. It doesn't matter if it gets onto the pan or not, that's fine. And then I used my pepper grinder and I ground some pepper. And I'm gonna put this on, just roll it on. Can't see that side, but So salt, pepper, meat. That's all you need. This is the easiest recipe you'll ever make for prime rib. Other people like to cut holes and put garlic inside. You can do that, and you'll put some garlic in the meat. But a good piece of prime meat should stand on its own. Just a little salt and pepper. Now I will tell you that I'm going to put some au jus and some horseradish cream with it at the end when I serve it. But that's just for dipping the meat for some extra flavor. You don't need to do anything extra. So I've got my reminder here that I'm going to do it for 34 minutes and then let it sit for 2 hours. I'm waiting for my oven to get to 500 degrees. As soon as it gets to 500 degrees, I'm going to pop it in the oven and we'll be on our way. My oven finally got to 500 degrees. So now I'm going to take this and put it in the oven. Woo, it's hot in there. And I'm going to set my timer for 34 minutes. When the 34-minute timer finishes, I'm going to turn off the oven and I'm going to reset the timer for 2 hours and not open the oven at any cost. While I'm waiting for the prime rib to cook, I thought I'd show you how I make my horseradish cream. I just take about a cup, I don't know, some heavy whipping cream, and I start to whip it until it gets nice and soft peaks. I don't want this to turn into full whipped cream. I want it to still be creamy but just thick. You can see when I run the mixer through it, it's starting to save, but it's not whipped cream like you would put on a dessert. So I'm going to go ahead and stop it here. I'm going to add a good amount of horseradish. Let's do 2 heaping teaspoons full. And then I'm going to add a little salt and a couple of grinds of pepper. I'm going to kind of mix that on low. That's just to get it all incorporated. Give myself a little taste. Perfect. You can taste the horseradish. Now it's going to sit for a while because I'm still going to have to wait for over 2 hours on the prime rib. So I'm going to put it in the refrigerator in the serving dish. The flavors are going to meld a little more and it's just going to be delicious with the prime rib. The prime rib has been in the oven for 2 hours now. I never opened anything, so I'm ready to take it out. And here we see the prime rib. 34 minutes at 500, and now it's out. I'm going to move it over here and cut, and we should have some perfectly medium rare prime rib. So now I'm going to make a slice and see what we have here. perfectly medium rare. So see, you have to have faith. Give it a try. And this is the way I make prime rib for Christmas dinner. I hope you'll try it because you're gonna love it. So I wish you all a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again next year on Charlie in the Kitchen.